to well, we know that Penboy's still alive. He's out there somewhere.
He said he's alive.
Yes.
I wouldn't believe him.
Yeah. You know, I don't believe it either. You know, he told us he's alive. I don't know about that. I can't.
I bet he's pulling some trick on us.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I can trust him on his word that he's alive.
He's actually enjoying all the benefits of being dead.
But Panboy, this one's to you. Yes, that's right. Got myself a tall glass of Guinness, a pint glass. I even poured correctly to make sure that it has.
Be careful with that. You might summon a tall Irishman.
Well, isn't that kind of an oxymoron? Aren't the Irish supposed to be tall?
Exactly. That's why you need to be careful.
Yes. I'll just let it sit here for a minute and then I can enjoy this nice pint of Guinness. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching yet another incredibly retarded episode of Rothingham, the world's least professional podcast on the entire internet. It might not be the most unprofessional podcast on Mars, but, you know, time will tell. It's actually kind of a small crew today. It's just yours truly, the Artrix. We have Xaverius.
What a senseless waste of human life.
And we got Sekele.
Hello.
Sup? But, you know, despite only having a few people on the crew today, we have a fair number of topics that we can discuss to entertain you for an hour or so. So, also,
well, see, the problem with summoning a tall Irishman is that he can actually reach and punch the British in the face and then they take over England.
You're saying that they're so tall that all they need to do is just fall over and then just become like a bridge.
No, I'm saying they are so tall that they can actually measure about as much as the British.
Okay.
English.
So you're saying that the British are tall?
No, I'm saying that tall Irish men are about as tall as regular Englishmen.
Oh, okay. And then there's the Dutch, who are all towering giants compared to any of those
That's why
people.
they kicked you out of the island.
Of course. Until we decide to go there anyway. It's like you're on the schoolyard and all the kids are having fun, and then the big bully just walks up to you and he's like, "Hey, give me your lunch money," and then all the
And
kids
then
like,
you refuse, and then he slits your throat.
exactly. That's exactly what happens, down to the very last detail. Except for in this scenario, we just take some shit and we just get put a bunch of stuff on fire in GTFO. It's like, oh hi England, that's a nice everything you got here, so we just take it. Bye. Also here, have some fire.
There's some clogs on fire in your face.
Well,
Then you throw some clogs on fire at them.
for fuck's sake, you just exposed us to the entire world, because that's the sole reason we wear clogs.
Yeah,
It has nothing to do with being able to walk through mud and everything. It's got everything to do with, okay, you're in your enemy's territory, you put your clogs there, you put it on fire, and you walk away as there's a huge explosion in the background. And that's where the stereotype in movies comes from.
Well, yes, obviously. If the ancient Dutch were one needs to walk in mud, they would just use rubber.
Rubber? I mean
Rubber
rubber boots. Yeah, but you know, yeah, we already invented it. We just kept it a secret to the world. We tricked we tricked the entire world into thinking that all we had was clogs, but clogs are actually a wartime invention to set other countries on fire.
Yeah. While you were masking your true shoes, which were made of rubber.
Yes, we
It's
were
ki- it's
actually
kinda
super
like-
advanced.
You see a hardware catalog, or rather hardware tool catalog, and you see a nice hammer with a nice wooden handle. This is a nice hammer. I could use this hammer. And then you read the description of the hammer, and it's like quality plastic handle. Like, no, A, it looks like wood, you are lying to me, and B, this is an oxymoron.
So plastic
one.
wooden handle. Well,
Yes.
they probably meant that it was a plastic handle that's designed to look like wood.
No, it just looked like wood, yes, but they
But
call it quality
the
plastic handle.
phrasing the phrasing was just really fucking awkward.
I don't think quality plastic handle is a thing.
That too. That too is incorrect. And now we just need back in here to tell us that we're all being idiots because he's our resident plastic
true.
and plastic
He
related
could
accessories
he-
expert.
He could 3D print our hammer handles.
Hmm? He could probably 3D print a McCree and then use it as a makeshift clock. That's right only once a day.
Well, it's right every time in the day because there's always high noon somewhere in the world.
I don't think so.
The question is, could you use the McCree as a hammer handle?
No, but you could use his gun as a hammer, I guess.
But it already has a hammer.
Exactly. All right, first sip. Good stuff. Okay. So now that we talked about a bunch of nonsense that doesn't go anywhere.
As anything on this podcast.
That's true. Do we have any topics you want to bring up? Because I honestly don't have much this episode. I can talk about how
I have something, but I will wait until if someone doesn't have their own subjects.
I think you know what? We already decided to call this episode the animation episode, and we started by not talking about animation because I think Xaverius wanted to talk about how much he hates the EU.
Yes. I always want to talk about how much I hate you. Why would you let me?
Well, it's because I know something about freedom of speech and whatnot.
And because
Also, in other news, our government is still not yet collapsed. I am starting to think that they are not even trying.
They're probably not trying. Do you have any idea how much work it is to form a government?
Probably less than dismantle it, judging by how it's going.
Because in the
Also,
Netherlands,
our prime minister not only did not resign, he also went crazy, and now he's saying that it would be good for us to have euro. I don't think his party will be voted in the fall elections.
yeah, I don't think joining euro, especially right now, is a very popular position in the
Or
Czech
ever.
Republics. I mean, there are plenty of countries that are like, this is actually pretty nice because that means we can just go into debt and other countries will bail us out.
And then there are countries that just, well, you realize that with Britain getting out of the way, there's not many countries left that can do that.
Well, we still got Germany and France, and Le Pen isn't exactly there to
Well,
be.
if they want to give us money, why not? I mean, after all, I saw this nice graph today, and the biggest contributors to EU are UK and Germany. I mean, in reverse order. I mean, Germany is first, then there's UK. And the biggest drains on the EU economy are in order of magnitude, or rather in whatever. The first, with the biggest number, is Greece.
Of
of
course.
course,
And then there's Poland right after it.
nice.
Because Poland is just like, we don't like you, give us money, better. And then they give money, and then for a while they are only like, okay,
They're like a foreign
Like an immigrant.
they're like a sovereign citizen. It's like, yeah, I'm a sovereign citizen. Fuck the government. I don't owe you jack shit. But I'm gonna drive my car to get to the mall. I mean, I'm traveling. Officer, I'm not driving a car. I'm traveling. I'm a traveler. What do you mean I speeded by 300 kilometers per hour. Don't be silly. Okay, and I think the connection dropped because I don't hear anyone. Oh,
Well,
there we go.
I think you're doing wrong something. Then
Well, WB.
no.
Anyway, so what I was saying is that
Also, don't forget that by the maritime law, you're a boat, so you are not speeding.
yeah, I mean yeah, maritime law and everything. I'm actually a vessel. I mean checkmate atheist. It's your rules. You guys thought this shit up. According to you guys, we're vessels, and you know that's where you can get all sorts of loans and whatnot because we're bound to maritime law and whatnot. So I'm a vessel. I'm not driving officer because I'm boat.
I'm a yes, I'm a boat, and boats can drive, officer. I'm just traveling.
I'm a boat. You know, I washed ashore through my mother's canal. Shit, that's why I'm a boat apparently. So yeah, I'm a boat. I just happen to be in a car, but I'm still a boat. Technically, I'm still a seafaring vessel. So fuck you, officer. Oh, sovereign citizens are the most hilarious thing in the universe. They're also terrifying.
Right after all the other most hilarious things in the universe.
So what other things in the universe are hilarious?
Many of them. I am very sure.
Like supernova?
I don't see what's hilarious about that.
Well, I guess they're full of gas. Or something
Lots
like
of stuff in the universe is gas. Artrix don't discriminate.
I discriminate against all the things, all the fucking time. Even stars, the supernova, and other cosmic bodies.
You're gasophobic.
Damn straight.
Stop being so gasophobic. That's like so 5 billion years ago.
Anyway, did you have any reason for specifically bring up the EU, or did you just want to rag on the EU?
No, I just hate it in general. Also, there was a thing with the Prime Minister going crazy.
Okay. Well, I'm not exactly a big fan of the EU. Speaking of which, that party I voted for was trolling quite a bit in the parliament this week. They were like, yeah, let's vote on these things. And all the parties were like, no, that's a waste of our time. And they were like, okay, let's just vote for one thing then. Okay?
So what are you doing when not voting?
Yes. Okay, so you know, let's just vote on one thing, okay? Is that what you want to do? Is that what's gonna make you feel right? Fine. So yeah, that happened. It was both hilarious and terrifying, considering what a bunch of condescending pricks some of these people are. But you know, what are you gonna do about it?
Yes, what a bunch of stupid bricks these people who rule us are.
Mm-hmm.
What a bunch of a-holes.
Or b-holes. Bungholes.
I give up, you didn't get the point.
Alright. Well, maybe
It was too
maybe
subtle to you.
well, maybe we should bring up an animation topic because this is after all the animation episode.
Oh yeah, so I'll start with the bottom of the barrel here.
Mm-hmm.
I recently came around it, but it was actually uploaded earlier this month. There is a Russian Gravity Falls knockoff.
Oh yeah, I've
out
seen
there.
that.
And
also,
Now with 200% less gays.
very much so. And has a very good history of animation. This isn't part of that history. It looks like
the future.
Actually, that's what the creators claim.
See?
claim that they are the future of animation and what they are doing is a breakthrough.
Apparently.
That
You need to be
breakthrough,
Slavic to understand Slavic.
that breakthrough actually looks like something that was done in Go Animate.
Okay, well that's kind of another extreme, but it might explain all the downvotes it's got, because a lot of people did not seem to like it. I
Yeah,
mean,
it
I
Not
mean,
the
gets a lot of
downvotes.
downvotes.
Anything but the downvotes.
I mean, if there's one thing, there's I think that Saber guy did a video about these really low effort videos on the YouTubes that are aimed at children, but are
He
really
did a video
fucking
about videos.
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
It
you
is
mean the ones where they ship Spider-Man with Elsa?
yeah
What's wrong about shipping Spider-Man with Elsa?
everything.
Well,
Everybody did it at some point, Artrix.
isn't the ship itself the
And if
problem? Is
you want to say that you never did that, Artrix, then you're probably still doing it.
No, I never shipped Spider-Man with Elsa. For one thing, I don't trust Elsa with my parcels. I think
Okay.
actually not
I
your
think-
neither regions.
That's actually pretty reasonable. I mean, she lives in the middle of
Yeah.
nowhere.
exactly. You know, considering the environment she's in, she probably lives somewhere in Norway. Why would I send my parcel all the way to Norway just to have it shipped somewhere else? If I can just ship it directly to wherever the fuck I want it. Checkmate, atheists. I'm not shipping any,
Elsa.
I'm not shipping my Spider-Mans with Elsa. I also don't condone the romantic relationship between Elsa and Spider-Man, just so you know. But
It is also people are already predicting that this trend of using Spider-Man in these low-effort children videos are going to turn him into a walking joke for the future generation, the same way as Super Friends did to Aquaman.
right, because Aquaman's a joke to many people. Well, yeah, he kind of is, but
But he deserved it with his powers, which there are none unless it's in the ocean, which
Aquaman
never fucking happens.
to inform you, aside from being able to breathe underwater and control sea life, Aquaman has also super strength and invulnerability.
well,
The guy freaking tanks torpedoes.
well,
See, torpedoes, they are in water.
well,
Yeah, but he also tanks freaking rocket launchers.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
on
that's better. Superman can do that. Basically, he
Point
just
is-
looks at the rocket launcher. The rocket launcher just gives up and goes home.
The point is take Aquaman out of water and you are still left with a tank.
Yes, after all, what is it? Injustice, God Among Us. They nerfed the best heroes, and now the Aquaman is the best thing.
well,
Yeah, that's what you get when you are trying to balance things.
but yeah, at least,
Aquaman! That's what you get when you try to balance things.
but yeah, dudes, at least Aquaman's not Kite Man. I'm not making.
Oh,
I'm not making this shit up.
But in fairness, Kite Man was a villain.
Yeah, but still, like, just the very concept of a superhero whose powers is basically nothing but, yeah, he flies kites. That's his thing.
As high as a cat.
There is a Flash villain whose thing is that she is a figure skater.
Well, even that seems more interesting than Kite Man. And that's saying quite a lot.
In her defense, she usually teams up with Captain Cold, who is a guy with a freeze gun.
How convenient.
And figure skater, yeah, they actually work pretty well as a team.
I wonder how like, is there something like a dating site for supervillains?
I think
Except
they are
instead of dating, you search people for villainy. Like
Yeah,
I'm a
trying to
figure
find-
skater trying to find a handsome villain with ice skills.
But yeah, back to the Russian gravity falls.
Well, for one thing, I think it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
Russian.
I put it in the chat.
Oh,
In
don't
the
worry.
Radio
I'll link it.
Rothingham
I'll link
chat.
it in the video description so everyone can watch with us.
Even
But
you.
Well, I already
Also,
watched it.
I
So.
had a feeling that the creators were very aware of deeper Mabel shippers because basically the first off the main protagonist does not have a sister,
Hmm?
and second the love interest introduced in the pilot, the character design is essentially a mix of Mabel and Pacifica. Plus, she has Wendy's background, including a Russian gypsy version of Robbie as her boyfriend, who still looks the same age as Robbie in Gravity Falls. So you have this girl around Dipper's size, her size.
Wait, you
Also
can
the
actually recognize individual characters in this art style.
Well,
Yes.
I sent you it. I sent some screenshots so you can judge for
Yes, they all
yourself.
look the same.
Uh-huh.
Well, one of them is a slightly wider version of all the others.
Yeah. As I said, the art style is basically a mix of Gravity Falls ripoff mixed with Go Animate.
Yeah, I can't unsee that now. Thank you. But
I never asked for this.
it does eerily resemble Go Animate in a way, but it also doesn't. So yeah. But it's still it is. They might probably take it more serious than they ought to. Like if they just made it like a parody and then didn't even have the pretense of doing anything revolutionary and anything, it might actually work. But I think they were just too. The way you describe it, they're probably way too fucking serious about it.
Yeah,
So
they are
this is the future, Artrix. You fail to grasp this. It's like you know,
apparently-
in the future, in like 200 years, everybody's going to look like Mike Pence, and it's the same with animation. Everything is going to look like Gravity Falls.
But you know, since I'm presumably still part of the future, what if I defy them and not draw like that? Then the prophecy will not come true. Even you know, now that I know that this is their grand master plan, I can just go and defy that just by not doing it.
You will still look like Mike Pence, though.
So they're
well,
going to
that's the price worth paying.
so they're going to genetically engineer me to look like Mike Pence.
But yes, everybody else is going to look like that.
Well, maybe I'll just be the one person who doesn't.
What a freak.
I know. That's a small price to pay.
Yeah, the sad thing here is that Russian animation much better than this.
Or much worse.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
depending on your luck on that particular day.
yeah,
yeah.
because back in the good old days of the Cold War, right? That this thing going where the Soviets had basically created their version of Tom and Jerry.
To be fair, from what I've heard, the creators actually never saw Tom and Jerry.
Right.
They said it long after the Soviet Union collapsed, so no one was forcing them. They said it like, yeah, we are actually very surprised that they had something like this in the West as well. Although they do admit that they took inspiration from Looney Tunes.
So, oh, you mean the creators of the Tom and Jerry knockoff?
Well, yeah, New Pogodi.
Oh,
They
that's
said that they basically say
Oh,
that
we all
they
know that
never
that one
saw-
was superior to any Tom and Jerry ever.
Yeah, it was very good.
I mean, you have Tom, which is a cat, and you have a Jerry, which is a mouse, and then you have Tupagori with the wolf,
And
who
the
happens to
bunny.
be a good for nothing. Like,
He,
no, hipster. He's like a bum. He's a guy who cares only about smokes and booze, and some dancing. Like he's my
and
hero.
and then you have this goody two shoes rabbit in a Soviet, well, not it's not the Soviet school uniform, but what
Something
the fuck?
between that and a jumper.
Yeah. And surprisingly, it has a lot gay subtext. The Russians themselves seem to be aware of it.
Well, that is a common stereotype that goes around about people in animation in general, that most of them are gay as fuck.
Well,
Which,
you did an animation once, Artrix.
yeah, so that means I'm gay. But you
Well,
know,
obviously you're an
but like I said, I defy all expectations. So I'm actually not. So suck it, society, and your expectations.
I should ask my friend if she's gay. She's an artist.
She's probably gay.
Yeah.
She's probably craving the pussy right now.
Well, she went to a anime con, so yes, it's absolutely probable.
Hmm.
Also, she has blue hair.
Oh yeah, that's a telltale sign that she's probably at the very least bi. At the very
It's
least.
dead giveaway.
Dyed hair on a woman is the same as a fedora on a man.
Well, she's a right shit lord.
Oh god, yeah, that is a good comparison.
Bears. What?
That's a good comparison.
Bears?
No, the blue hair chicks are like it's like the female equivalent of wearing a fedora.
As for some reason, I understood you something about bears.
I didn't say anything about bears. Though now that we're talking about bears, and apparently about communist propaganda cartoons, I did like that in the Squirrel and Hedgehog show in the North Koreas. The Russians are portrayed as a really big bear, and he basically just disappeared in later seasons. He was nowhere to be found.
Because Russia isn't
Yeah.
involved in North Korea's antics.
Russia doesn't give a shit about North Korea anymore. They're like, yeah, we've got this small strip of border with North Korea. We're just gonna put a big fence on this one railroad that goes there and just not bother with them anymore. Like,
And then bears went
Why
extinct.
would you?
like what can we
You
get?
know,
Like
the
what?
real
What?
question,
Oh.
the real question about that cartoon is who is watching it? There's like 5 TVs in the entire North Korea.
You mean North
Well,
Korea?
those 5 people.
So Kim Jong-un, because there's at least 2 TVs,
Mhm.
and a few generals.
Actually, I think TVs are far more widespread than you make them out to be.
Well, maybe. I mean, they have to do something when they are bored without any food, right?
Exactly. No.
Like we don't I haven't eaten anything for 2 months, but once every day for 5 minutes, I get a TV.
I at least get a small distraction from my constant suffering. So yeah, eventually, I don't know. We'll find out soon enough. With all these tensions going on right now, maybe they're just gonna end it. They're just gonna press the button and then.
And then they launch all their half a nuke and it explodes right after start and wipes the North Korea out of the map. That's a good idea, actually.
Yeah,
That's a good ending.
that's the
We should
good ending.
encourage them to the nuclear program.
Glory to Kim Jong Un. And then they exploded.
That's the plan.
It's a good plan. Let's execute it.
I mean, even Japan is getting pissed.
Hmm? Aren't they more or
Yeah.
less rebuilding their
Well,
army
yeah,
right
like
now?
They actually use their
Like-
boats.
Yes, they're actually patrolling and shit. And did they
Ever since
recently?
World War II, they are like, okay, we are not using these boats unless we are directly attacked.
Well, they
And
kind of are
th-
right
th-
now.
thankfully, there was a loophole in that, and they interpreted it that also their allies can be attacked. And since the USA is kind of the ally, and they are getting kind of threatened by the Korea.
Best Korea.
Yes, best Earth Kingdom.
Hmm? Korea's the Earth Kingdom now.
I don't know. Do you have any better ideas? They are
Well,
not. They are not technologically advanced enough to be the Fire Nation.
True.
They're more. They're well. China's more like the Earth Empire from the Avatars,
Yes.
so it can't be best Korea. They're more like I don't know. Maybe the single state in the Earth Empire that just went rogue. It's like
Is
yeah,
there some character in Legend of Korra that's a schizophrenic with who's also a bumbling fool?
well, the closest thing to that is the Earth King, but no one really gives a shit about him anymore because
And he
Well-
wasn't a villain.
That's
wasn't the-
perfect.
he was more like the status quo that was like, yeah, I'm completely
The only reason
ineffectual.
anybody
And,
gives shit about the Korea is because they are annoying. If they were not so annoying, nobody would give a shit. Like, here's your call, fuck off.
yeah, but then the Chinese reject their call and they were like, you have it back. Just
Yes.
you know,
This is
thank
true.
thank you for the shipment, but yeah, we don't care anymore. Bye.
Thank you for our shipment. Take it back.
You can go fuck off now.
Go fuck
Well,
yourselves.
And then North Korea's like, fug. Well, I guess we have to wage war now.
XD, XD.
Goks are pissed today, they.
Is it me or are you all roboting?
Yes.
Yeah, but that's probably your connection, not mine. Mine's perfect in every conceivable way.
It's your fault.
Okay. It's all your fault.
No, your.
And it's still high.
You know what's also fun? Studying. Studying subjects in college. And then you are like in the third year, you know, the one after which you go to baccalaureate and whatever. And then you're like, oh wait, my subject no longer exists.
Oh, such is college.
Yes, and it can happen to everybody who starts colleging this year in our state. Because apparently our EU stuff program from the
EU. That's
from the
also-
EU dispenser of programs, which you get free money for. Well, it's ending, and we actually got some sort of, I don't know what it is, some commission, but it's ours that's trying to take care of these things and being fair to the students and shit like that. And the side effect is that people who started studying a certain subject, I don't know, like they didn't say which subjects, but I presume there's quite a lot of them, because this aims to redo the entire system as it works right now. Well, they might happen to not actually finish that subject because it stops existing suddenly, and then they'll have to finish another subject.
So the EU's like, yeah, you can study this thing, and then you start studying, and then after a semester, the EU's like,
Well, and then our government is like, well, this isn't very fair towards the students. Let's change it all. And then they change it all. They're like, wait, where did my subject go?
I left it right here, but it's gone.
Yeah, I just looked away for a month and suddenly it's gone.
There was a subject here. Now it's gone.
Yes, that's why you never take any summer vacation. You just keep studying
Just non-stop.
around the clock, just to be sure.
And then you graduate and end up in the real world, and then you discover, wait a minute, it never stops. I still need to keep learning shit because, whoops, all the things I learned are now obsolete. The industry has changed.
Better become a teacher.
That's
Well,
especially true when it comes to doctors.
So you become a doctor, and at the first day of work, they're like, "Yeah, everything you learned in school, you can forget it now, because
Everything you knew was a lie.
Yes, everything changed,
Everything you know is wrong.
Yes.
including everything that was taught in school. So here's a bunch of books. Now study, and come back off after 5 years, getting spy, and they come back and they're like, yeah, that changed again.
This is all already. Get newer books. These books are so new we don't even have them.
Yes, they're all iPads now. That we didn't even bother to buy like proper computers and laptops. Now you have to use this fucking iPad, which is really retarded.
I know you are joking, but this is basically the reality over here.
Well, here's the thing. Instead of trying to learn everything, all you need to teach people is how to use technology so they can keep themselves updated.
Oh,
Yeah,
technology
how
is
to-
scary, Artrix.
I know I'm being very
Fire
scary.
scary.
Suggesting that people use the complete collective knowledge of the human race on their fingertips. Yeah, that's scary, you know.
Suggesting people use the completer.
Completer.
Oops.
Maybe we should touch on the Gravity Falls rip-off again before we move on to another subject, because we've been drifting off quite a bit.
Stop touching things that
In
you
what
found
way?
lying in Russia.
Well, I certainly do like the concept of, you know, them trying to make a Russian version of Gravity Falls. It's almost like the picture I did some time ago, where it was.
Kinda like China did with Gumball.
Oh god, no.
Well, it wasn't
Have you
Mike
heard this
in
one?
Etel that basically
Why would
made.
anyone make it their own version of that?
China did.
Yes, why?
Because they're China, they make knockoffs of everything, and then there's the guys that make the Spider-Man and Elsa spin-offs for some reason, and they
From
make.
what I've heard,
I'm talking about Russia and shipping and animation. I think there's a team that perfectly fits.
from
Which
what
is-
But
I've heard,
you know about it after all. It's the group of people in Russia, or was it Ukraine? I don't know. Who cares? It's going to be Russia soon anyway. Um, the cult of people that happens to kind of worship Gadget Hack Range from Rescue Rangers.
oh yeah,
Oh God! Yes.
Because she is much better person than everybody else, apparently.
Apparently, there's a really big fucking cult around this one particular character. For some reason, they're all in Russia.
in all fairness, cartoons in general are extremely popular in Eastern and Middle Europe. Like we still get DuckTales and other of these shows in reruns until
Oh,
this
that's
day,
because DuckTales is good.
and they still get good ratings over here.
It's because they are good.
Yeah, but they no longer air in America, so apparently
That's
nobody.
because America doesn't know what is good. I mean, look at it. They have Gravity Falls
Gravity Falls was fine.
and Steven Universe and
Speaking of
And
Gravity
Hello
Falls,
Kitty. Have you ever watched Hello Kitty?
Hello
you,
Kitty is Japanese,
you don't need to get stoned. Just watch Hello Kitty.
and Hello Kitty is Japanese.
And it's retarded. I
I
mean,
never watched Hello Kitty.
me
but I
neither,
know
because it's retarded.
It's a mind-altering experience. You will see the world in a whole different way after watching it.
Hello Kitty's.
Speaking of which, Gravity Falls is actually extremely popular in Russia, which
Yes.
is probably why they ripped it off.
Well, I'm not entirely surprised, because it does feature very rugged, untamed wilderness and whatnot, which I'm sure there's plenty of in Russia. And actually, that's it. So I wouldn't know why else it would be popular in Russia. Maybe,
Called-
maybe it's that post-communist vibe on like, yeah, it's America. Ooh, I don't know.
America has gays, and gays are sinful.
Yeah,
Artrix.
but Gravity Falls doesn't even have lots of the gays in it.
They
Doesn't-
have those two cops.
Yeah, but they're not even overtly gay. It's like
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
they really
what
like
I
one another, but you don't see them make out or anything.
Well, Artrix, they are sinners. They sinned against Putin. Putin is going to make them burn in hell.
Well, yeah, good luck with that.
It's Putin.
Well, yeah, good luck with that, Putin. I'm talking to you directly now, Putin. I don't care. I'm drawing McCree. Your argument isn't valid. Can 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 you draw McCree, Putin? I think not.
And then he knocks at your house and annexes it to Russia.
No.
that's the best future.
Also, Putin, that still wouldn't make you any better at drawing McCree. You can annex my house to Russia, but I can still draw McCree better than you.
Well,
Look at-
then obviously then he'll outsource you.
Look at it this way. Next by Russia, or you get Sharia law for all eternity. Pick your poison.
Well,
He's
obviously,
in Netherlands. He already has Sharia law.
no, we don't.
You will soon.
Nope. As long as I'm alive, that's not gonna happen. You know, they're gonna be like, yeah, your area's been Sharia, and I'm like, no.
Alex, I wouldn't say as long as I'm alive when Muslimists are involved.
Well, that's
Yeah,
the
because
problem.
they will
So
chop off
so
your
then so they're like, Akbar, we're gonna chop your head off, and then I'm like,
With
no.
explosives!
I'm like, no.
No, sorry. With holy explosives.
I use fireworks during New Year's. Yeah, they don't do anything to me. I've become immune to the explosions. And then they just stand there in fear, like, what the fuck? Our one strategy doesn't work on this guy. Holy shit, they're onto us. Bill! And then I'm
And
like,
that's where they break out the truck.
yeah, but that doesn't
Run
affect
you
me too
over.
because I'm so tall, you see? I can just jump over the truck. They just approach me with a huge truck. They're like, we got you now. And then just step aside because my legs are
Yeah,
so
but
long.
you won't see the truck approaching. They're going to hit you in the ankle, and then you can't run away.
Yeah,
And
but
they will crush you underneath the wheels.
yeah, but the joke's on them because I replaced the wheels with bricks, so the truck won't go anywhere.
So it's going to crash you even more.
No, because it's a fucking truck. It
Backfire,
needs-
Artrix.
No, just no. The truck won't go anywhere because the wheels are really big bricks that won't turn no matter how much energy you put into them.
Well, it's too bad because they are operating on
Also,
faith, not
also,
on
also, also, they
energy.
automatically lose because they can't draw McCree the way I can. And then they're like, "Oh man, you got us there." You know, all this time you got the perfect fireworks-proof truck that can also drive when you replace the wheels with bricks. But here you are drawing McCree. We can do better than that.
I bet drawing McCree is some sort of heresy.
Mm? And we can't say it's un-Islamic because McCree is probably the most Islamic thing ever because he smokes and he has a gun and he's not gay.
But does he
So-
drink the alcohol?
Oh,
Are
actually, he
you
does.
sure McCree isn't gay?
Actually, I'm pretty sure of that. He doesn't strike me as being as gay at all.
Are you sure that Overwatch has any straight characters?
Torbjorn
Well,
is straight.
Yes, there are some very overtly straight people in that universe.
He's not straight. He just has different sexuality.
I mean,
He likes the Tourette very much.
I mean, yeah, Torbjorn has a big family. So yeah, he's pretty much straight. I'm pretty sure.
How is that related? Like, are you saying that people with small families are not straight?
And Widowmaker, she was straight. She had a male lover that she
Then she
killed.
became
Her
friend.
husband. Yes, Widowmaker was married. Of
Yes.
course, Anna.
Yep. She had sex at one point.
But only one.
Well, she knew that she'd give birth to Farah. She was like,
So a person was wicked good with jetpacks.
so she's like, okay, just this once.
Like,
This
I
is-
don't want to have children, but I know my child is going to be wicked good with jetpacks.
Yeah, so let's do it. Let's create the best rocket girl. And then she's
Then
like,
fuck off, guy.
yeah, then fuck off. Just inseminate me, then fuck off. Can't explain.
The
That's
true
sound.
feminist.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. Yeah, you see, in the Overwatch universe, the entire Islamic world is feminist. So obviously that's how Anna got
well,
pregnant.
the only people from the Islamic world we saw this far were Anna and Farah, and they were from Egypt.
No, Farah's from Canada, isn't she?
Farah's father is Canadian, but Farah herself is an Egyptian citizen.
Oh, so you're saying that Anna had sex
Part of
times
her
with a Canadian guy.
Well, she's
Part
an
of-
Egyptian citizen in the Egyptian police army.
Yeah. That's part of Farah's bio that she used to be a member of the Egyptian military.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, fuck off, I can fly, I'm going to join this non-existent organization now.
So yeah,
She went and joined the organization.
she was like, yeah, I'm just gonna be this weird hybrid between Canadians and Egyptians, I guess. That's my thing
She
now.
doesn't have a choice.
Oh, you can choose your nationality. I chose to be Dutch. That was a decision.
Well, at least,
That-
you know, when you die in Dutchland, you don't die in real life, but when you die in Canada, you die in real life.
Yes. All right. Maybe we should bring up a new topic because
Okay.
yeah, you had a bunch.
Also another animation-related one to the previous one, since it also involves Disney.
Ugh, no.
They recently, considering the DuckTales reboot they are making,
Disney.
they recently just confirmed that yes, Gizmo Duck is going to be a character.
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
There is one problem. Not my problem, but 4chan took a big offense to it.
Oh my
Because
god.
apparently the character of the Gizmo Duck is going to be voiced by a Mexican actor.
I don't see a problem
Reason
there.
probably to reflect this, they drew his feather not white but slightly brown. And 4chan is flipping their shit over it.
Yeah, that all sounds very retarded.
Yeah, I mean, from the profile they gave on the character, he's exactly the same character of DuckTales, only now he has brown feathers.
Oh,
Fortune
that's
lost
like
their-
ridiculous. They should just put him behind a cartoon wall and never mention him again.
So you're saying that there's also gonna be a DuckTales version of Donald Trump?
Well,
Is
the
that's pretty
original-
much Scrooge McDuck, isn't it? He
Yeah,
likes money
by
and
the
he also
way,
likes his family. That's like pretty much it.
well,
Duck is essentially Donald Trump.
aren't like normal quote unquote people supposed to be like these dog type things with the dog ears and whatnot? They were always pretty odd.
Yes.
So
and?
so you have the dogs, and the humans, quote unquote, in that universe are kind of like humans, but they have dog ears and
They are officially called beagles.
oh,
The breed.
Artrix, what exactly is the point you are trying to get at?
well, that Donald Trump looks like one of those guys.
Ah,
Actually, Donald
he
Trump
isn't.
did appear in DuckTales, voicing a character, and said character looked like Donald Trump, but was a pig. He wasn't one of the beagle people, but he was a pig.
Okay, so they're called beagles, but they're supposed to be pigs.
No.
Oh,
They
I,
are
I think I
separate.
think you just got the point in such a way that's impossible for anyone else to get because you got it in the exact opposite manner that it was meant.
right.
I will send you pictures, but no, they are separate species. Like they
Ah,
are the ducks,
yes.
beagles,
Which
like the
is
beagle boys, for example, or
How
their
about that one?
brother. And then there are pigs. And Donald Trump played a pig on the DuckTales.
wait. So you actually had a role in Ducktales at one point
Yeah, Donald Trump
Ah,
actually
you are
voiced.
starting to get the
to
point of
catch on.
which
Yes.
was said about 2 times already.
Yeah, Donald Trump basically played a very minor part in one episode where he played one of Scrooge's policemen, and he essentially was Donald Trump but a pig.
That's awesome. Now I actually want to see that clip, though there are plenty of clips of Donald
Oh,
Trump doing
Trump
shit.
Trump is a prolific actor, don't you know?
Yes, he is. So that's
He,
probably
he,
why.
he once got a award for the worst role, which was him playing himself.
In that one Home Alone movie, right? Where it's like, yeah, to go down
Yeah.
that hallway and then turn right, and there you'll find whatever the fuck it is you're
No,
looking for.
Okay.
Oh,
no,
oh
no,
yeah,
no.
yeah, that they were very pig-like characters in the show. I remember now.
And just to show the difference, I'll show one of the beagles.
Please don't.
Well, yes, there's no stopping him. Nothing will stop the Sekele from showing you the true reality.
Yeah, by the way, this character is called Duckworth, but he's not a duck, he's a beagle.
Right.
And he isn't worth a duck. That's the worst part. You can trade him.
Right, let's have a look. Oh yeah, that is definitely one of those dog things. They're essentially humans, but instead of human ears, they have like the weird looking
And
dog.
if we
Did you
are
just say the ducks are not humans? Alex is racist.
oh, and
No,
they
no,
and,
no, no,
and
no.
by the way,
That's not racist. That's speciesist.
if we are going by Disney races, cats and straight up dogs. Like there are these beagles who look like humans but have dog-like traits. But then there are straight up dogs like Goofy,
Yeah, and then there's dogs like Pluto, which
who are just dogs.
who are just dogs and they're owned by masters.
And
It's really fucked
then
up when you
there
think
are
about it.
also cats.
They're like actual cats, like pet
Yeah.
cats.
Cat, but then there are characters like Pete.
Oh yeah,
By
he's
the
a
way,
cat, isn't he?
Peg from Goof Troop is also supposed to be a cat. Only that you don't see her cat ears because they are underneath her hair.
Right.
Yes,
But
she's officially a cat, even though she looks human.
well, the whole family's cats, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their
Whereas
daughter actually has visible cat ears.
whereas the Goofy family is all dogs.
Yeah.
Disney universe just started to make a bit more
Although
sense.
this is where it gets confusing because back in the 1950s, where there was Goofy Jr. on, Goofy had a wife. That wife, a beagle, but a straight up human.
Okay, I can't possibly imagine what that would look like, but
You'll never see her face,
I don't think I
but
have.
she's obviously. I'll try to find her.
Also, speaking of Disney races, I'm pretty sure that there's also like a cow race in there because one of the
Yeah,
quote unquote
cows and horse,
yeah, I think one
but
of the
there are like
major
only two characters.
yeah, but there are cows and horses in there as well.
You can even see her face in this one.
You posted in public, didn't you?
No. I'm just going to post it. I
Oh,
just found the picture.
right. That does look very jarring, considering that usually you only see like animal species in
You
those
ever
shorts.
see humans? You
Yes.
rarely ever see humans in those. Most of the time, you can't see her face. By the way.
Mhm. Which is probably one of the reasons why it's so jarring and weird.
Thankfully. All I know about Goofy is that movie when he went on a road trip with his son, and the son had a name. I think it was
Max.
Max, and that's all I know.
Yeah,
Well,
he originally a different version of him originally debuted in the 1950s. There he was called the Goofy Jr. Then when the Goofy movie came out, they called him Max. But according to official Disney sources, they are the same character, even though they have different designs.
the Goofy movie was pretty fun though. I liked it. Then there was the sequel, and that one was the animation quality was pretty good, but the movie itself was really mediocre. It totally did not have the same vibe as the original. The plot was what was the plot even about? It was something like
Max went to
yeah,
first off, Goofy lost his job,
yeah.
and he found out that in order to get a job, he needs a college degree.
Mhm.
So he starts going to college. Only that he ends up in the same college as his son.
Yes.
Hijinks ensue.
Yeah, and that was probably the reason why I didn't really like it. It was just the premise was so dumb and it was so painfully unfunny most of the time. The original movie was endearing, it was fun, it was believable. They have this weird movie where like what's even the point? Why does this exist?
Money.
Well, yeah, that's probably it.
Money. Money.
We got to have money.
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 That also, yeah, that quote came from a movie that did not need to exist. The one where Tom and Jerry became friends, which is like
Yeah.
rule number one of Tom and Jerry that should never break. Tom and Jerry are not
Never talk.
friends. They never talk and they're not friends. They fucking hate one
But they are
another.
friends in like half of the cartoons.
Well, in the later ones, after
Yeah,
the
it's the postmodernist
nonsense.
version of Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, because in the original ones, they really, really hated one another. I think in one of the cartoons, Jerry even got Tom killed.
multiple times.
Yes,
Yes, you do.
they were like in the French Republic or whatever, and Tom
You
fucked
just
up.
make a Tom cloning machine and Tom murder machine and
Well, they kept
put them
using
next to each other.
new Tom, so yeah, that shit kept happening all the fucking time. But yeah, Tom fucked up, and then they were like, yeah, off with your head. And then in the very last scene, you actually saw Gelatine drop down as they executed Tom. GG Jerry, GG.
Fucking
And Jerry has absolutely no qualms.
Nope.
Like, yeah, just die. Fuck.
Jerry is a huge asshole, but that's the good thing about the original Tom and Jerry cartoons. Like, yes, Tom is constantly trying to catch Jerry. That's the thing he does. He's a cat. What he's, that's his thing.
Yes, but considering that Jerry is an utter asshole, you just want
Yeah.
that bastard to get killed.
But he never gets killed because, he's the mouse. He's supposed to be the good guy. But
And then the show just serves to infuriate you and raise your blood pressure.
Oh yeah.
And then you beat up some kid at school and you get expelled and it goes with your entire fucking life.
all because Jerry just didn't fucking die.
Exactly.
Because he's an infuriating, annoying little shit. So yeah, in other words, Tom and Jerry is probably going to end up being the cause of World War III.
Well,
let's skip
not
3.
really, because most people in the West seem to have forgotten that it is even existed.
I don't know about that. Oh, okay, to be fair,
Well,
yes.
they do still show them in Europe, but in America, only thing they seem to get nowadays are those shitty direct to DVD
But you're
At least it's not Tom and Jerry kids, right?
releases.
at least
Yeah.
it's not Tom and Jerry Kids, which was the most condescending piece of shit show on the entire.
Tom and Jerry the movie was worse.
It was much worse. I mean, Tom and Jerry Kids was incredibly stupid, and it really seemed to try and drive down his point of these are the rules of cartoons, it's all silly and shit, and everything needs to move all the fucking time. Haha, XD, and also they're kids, so it's automatically more funny.
Yeah, Tiny Toons did it better.
It did much better, but that show was actually funny, and that originality.
Yeah, exactly. Tiny Toons made sense, and some of the characters had character.
Mm-hmm. Tom and Jerry Kids, on the other hand, was like, yeah, they're just tiny
They are
versions.
kids! Look at them, they are kids!
But they're doing
But that was generally a thing during the late 80s, early 90s.
oh
turn
god,
everything.
yes. The
Yes,
babification of cartoon
Yeah.
characters.
I remember
Muppet,
that
for
one version
instance.
of ponies where all look like something between a hippo and a demon spawn.
Oh yeah, the My Little Pony Generation 2, not Season 2, but Generation 2.
My Little Pony Tales.
Yes, and it was also the most.
The point, which is kind of weird because the point of Generation 2 was to make them more mature, which is why they dropped all the fantasy elements and turned it into a teen drama.
Which in turn made it not mature at all, because teenagers
Yeah.
are fucking retards. Every single one of them, including you who's listening right now. I don't care if you're a teenager right now. You're retarded.
Just get off my lawn, you fucking kids.
Kids, get on my lawn. But don't worry, you'll get over it. So it's not even a personal insult. I'm not even personally insulting you. You're a teenager.
I'm just generally insulting all the kids on the planet.
Yes, because all teenagers have some sort of brain damage. I mean, some are smarter than others, but all teenagers are mentally handicapped, and it'll eventually go away. So I actually have good news. You'll be fine. Maybe. But for now, but for now you're a teenager. I'm sorry, there's no cure. There's currently no cure for teenager. And yes, I'm
just a retard.
I'm currently equating being a teenager to having some sort of disease. Like I'm doctor, what's my problem? You have teenager. There's currently no cure for it. Oh no, Billy! Whatever shall we do? Well, the only cure right now is to wait. No.
Or even euthanasia.
Or euthanasia. Just end it now.
It's human. It's a human way to end his suffering.
Humane way to end the suffering.
Yes, that's true.
In my skin.
But that's
I think
actually
you
one
didn't
of
get the point.
that's one of the symptoms of teenager.
Yes, their skin starts crawling with worms.
So yeah, in order to maintain your teenager, either euthanizes or just suck it up and wait a few years, and then they'll eventually get over it. Or let them try and draw McCree. That might help too. But they'll never get as good as me, of course. No teenager can draw McCree.
Talking about animation, and I think that had animation like the most bestest animation you ever saw in a video game,
Huh?
which happens to
Oh
be Mass
yeah,
Effect
yeah,
Andromeda,
yeah,
obviously.
yeah. It's
Well,
got
turns
the
out that the game was such a solid success that the entire Mass Effect franchise is getting put on ice.
Nice.
Which
So, in
so
equals
my
to EA taking yet another game studio and leading it out behind the shed and shooting it in the head and kicking it down to the mass grave with all the other game companies.
so yeah,
oh,
dude.
and by the way, they are blaming Gamergate
Oh yeah,
again.
I actually looked this shit up just today, and yes, apparently they were equating the criticism of the new Mass Effect to, oh my god, it must be Gamergate misogyny.
Well, that's because there were women in the game.
Yeah, because the lead
Just
animator was a woman, and Gamergate or so.
Artrix, what lead animator? There's no lead animator for Mass Effect Andromeda. Just ask EA. Or BioWare, I guess.
I think it was Bioware, but yeah, they were like, yeah, people are confusing these people, and it's all wrong, and people are just being very confused. And then they were like, no, because the woman said right on her profile, so either she's lying or you're lying, but
They were
someone's
not like
lying.
people confusing. They was directly stated that she doesn't work at BioWare.
But at first she did, and then she tried to hide.
Currently.
Then she tried to hide the evidence,
Yes,
like.
that was the point. They said that she currently doesn't work at BioWare. Technical truth.
But yeah, for any anti-game gators out here, we're not criticizing her for being a woman. We're
They are criticizing her for doing shit job, which technically
exactly.
wasn't her fault because
She's
somebody
a
decided that they are going to. Yes, because she's a woman and it's never its fault. But somebody decided that they are going to take a bunch of people who sometimes can kind of into games because they were in a college, so
Mhm.
they have about -5 experience with games. But they studied a game-related stuff, so obviously they are as good as professionals, except you can pay them 10 times less. So you give them a game based on this fact and on the fact they're Mass Effect fans. How exactly is that going to end up? Especially when the game's fucking hyped up because everybody's looking forward to a game in a series that's already concluded.
Yeah, because the game was already more. The story was already just done, right?
Exactly.
They
It's
told
the
everything there
equivalent.
was to be told, and everyone fucking hated it. But at least the story was done and dealt with.
Yes,
But then
exactly.
EA was like,
It
yeah,
was
but we
over. It was like, but this is a source of money for us. We are getting money for this. We need to find more ways how to get money for this. And then they find a way to get more money for that. Except then all the refunds came.
so yeah, let's add a SJW angle to it. Let's make it more SJW than it already
Yeah,
is.
I mean,
And
basically Mass Effect Andromeda is the equivalent of all the new Alien movies or Star Wars, whatever is that called, Episode 7. Is that sequels or
they're technically sequels, yes, because
yes?
back in the early 2000s we got the prequels, all the movies that came before the original trilogy, and then they're
Yes,
like, yeah,
yes.
we're done doing uh, um,
What
prequels,
I'm trying
so
to
we're gonna
say
go
is
back. I
that
know.
Andromeda is a sequel that was not needed, necessary, wanted, or reasonable. It's basically like Alien movies past Alien 2, which was Aliens, right?
Well,
Alien 3 was fine.
the good thing
I
Yes,
mean,
about
I said past Alien 2. Alien 3, no, thank you.
the good
my
thing
father absolutely adores Alien 3.
the thing
Okay.
about those sorts of sequels is that you can just flat out ignore them and don't even pretend they exist.
Well, Alex, since the latest development in EA, you can pretend BioWare doesn't exist anymore.
Mhm. Exactly.
The entire Mass Effect series doesn't exist anymore. It's so nice. Good job. So BioWare is relegated to doing what? Either making another shitty expansion for Baldur's Gate that nobody wanted or asked
Correct.
it for, or just doing nothing.
They still have Dragon Age, don't they?
Well, I guess. Are they planning to do anything with it?
I have no idea.
Last time they were like, okay, the game ended kind of on a high note. Let's make a DLC that fucks everything up, which was kind of a genius thing to do. After all, it was the only proper thing to do.
And then everyone died.
Yeah, basically. Or it was implied that everybody's going to die, including the whole world, and possibly the reality. To be fair, it was much better than what they. What was that? Okay, he joined in again. It was better than what they did in original Inquisition. Whose marketing that basically consisted of look at the wizard, he's gay.
Oh yeah, that thing. And then
It was
And
really
remember,
and then everyone pretended it was a. And then okay.
and remember, if social justice wins, every single game will be like Mass Effect Andromeda.
Game.
At best.
Also,
Even worse.
the funny thing about Tracer being gay is that
Come
No
on, you
one-
can fight progress. Games have gay in the name.
the funny thing about the revelation that Tracer was gay was like most of the gaming community was like, meh, okay.
We don't care.
Well,
We-
she still has a butt.
You know, we look at our Rule 34. It's like, yeah, that's pretty much what we've been doing.
And
Carry
then
on.
the SJWs were angry because gamers were not angry.
Exactly. The gamers
Yeah.
were like, yeah,
Obviously, she was not lesbian enough because they didn't care.
we you
People
know,
are like, well, she still has a butt. I can log into the game and look, the butt is right here.
you know, the entire game community is like, yeah, we already got a shit ton of view art of Tracer. You know, look at this one. Here's he's munching the carpet of Zarya because he's obviously also gay. Even though I wouldn't be surprised if they come out and say that he's straight as a ruler, but just to be contrarian.
She's Russian.
Yeah,
It has
exactly.
to be.
So, but and you know, there's basically any combination thereof. So if you're looking
know,
for
Artrix, in Russia, sexuality is a choice, and everybody chooses the right one.
you mean Putin sexuality?
Yes, obviously.
Well, I guess it makes things easier. Though it might explain why Russians' birth rates are so low.
Yes, well, the point of Tracer is not that if she's gay or straight. The point of Tracer is the butt. And the butt. I don't care if the butt is gay or straight. It's
The
butt.
funny thing about that is they changed the pose. They were like,
Do
oh
something even better.
my god, Tracer's being sexualized. You know, he's a fun-going girl. He would never do that. It's against her character. Blah blah blah. And then they changed the pose to an actual pin-up pose. Like they
Wasn't there
actually,
a post with McCree who's showing his butt?
yeah,
in
there is.
in much the same way.
Well, not in exactly the same way, but he does have a pose
Very-
where he's got his back to you and you can clearly see his butt.
He's presenting to you.
Yes, he's presenting. He's like, it's high.
He's
noon."
definitely not gay.
Well, what if he just likes to show off to the ladies?
Look at my butt!
Yes, look at my sexy butt, ladies. This one's on me. It's high noon.
It's high noon.
I'm also straight. I have to repeat this all over the time because you're probably confused because I'm so darn sexy.
Gaze up on my glutes.
Glutus Maximus.
Yes, yes. I think you get the point. Good job.
I mean, the cigar is obviously a symbol of not being gay. Obviously.
Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar.
Yeah, but sometimes it's
Yeah, but you know,
part of the
Freud said
patriarchy.
that, and I'm not trusting that guy a word.
You mean you don't trust what Freud said?
No, just read something about him. The guy had severe psychological issues.
He did. he was
Most psychiatrists do.
he was really fucking weird. Also, they turned
Everything,
they
every
turned
single problem is the result of you wanting to fuck your mother.
every single thing. Yes,
Mm,
you know,
mm.
I stubbed my toe.
Perhaps he wanted to fuck your mother too. Like,
Who
Well,
wouldn't? She's hot.
well, all the kids on Xbox already did.
hmm
Did you just said your mom is hot? I'm paging Freud.
he's doing it right now. Hey Freud, get
Said,
on this shit.
Yeah, it's a little known fact, but Freud lives in Japan, so you need a pager to page him because he doesn't have
Oh
any
yeah,
other forms of communication.
classic.
and also now imagine Freud texting you, and you read the text, and it's just nothing but fucking emojis.
Yes. So those
Oh yeah.
horizontal ones.
Oh, by the way,
Speaking
they
of
just
emojis,
released.
yeah, the
They
emoji.
just yeah, they just released the trailer for the Emoji Movie.
I'm sorry, not look. Wait, you know what? You know the sad thing about the Emoji Movie is not that the Emoji Movie exists, because well, it exists, and it's gonna exist, and it's gonna be very mediocre. But
Is
the
it the
fact,
thing about Gandhi Tarakovsky?
no,
Yeah, the fact that they canceled Gendy Tartakovsky's Popeye movie in order
In
to make,
3D for
okay,
and
making an
also
that is
emoji
extremely
movie.
sad.
And the world
and
was
they
like,
also
what are you doing,
canceled
Sony?
Lauren and they
Wait,
also canceled Lauren Faust's Medusa movie, all to make this.
wait a minute. Wasn't Lauren Voss supposed to be working on a new series for Cartoon Network? Or is that?
No,
Oh, I think I
but
heard
she is
something about that.
supposed to. I think she is supposed to work for Warner Bros. Though.
Yeah, but Warner Bros. Is more or less synonymous with Cartoon Network these days because it's
Well,
owned by
yes,
Turner.
but not everything that Warner Bros. Produces goes to Cartoon Network.
Oh, okay. That's still a damn shame though. And I'm still curious to see what Law and Foss is able to churn out, because what's the less things he's even done since MLP?
She co-worked on Wonder Over Yonder.
Okay.
Didn't she do the Galaxy Girls thing?
Yeah, but
That's
that
a side project.
yeah, and that project didn't really get off the ground. She made a I think she made a short for
Okay, well,
some talent
then,
show,
then she.
whatever, and Cartoon Network was like, yeah, fuck off, we're going to make Titans Go instead.
Okay, well, she did something about Super Best Friends Forever, I think. Don't know if that's still going on. And there was that game she made art for, the one that was originally ponies bashing the
Oh yeah,
shit out
yeah.
of each other.
Oh
And I
yeah,
was like, you can't use ponies bashing shit out of each other because we are Hasbro and we don't like fun. So
So she
they
was
made
like, okay,
it
fine,
instead
now it's a bunch of
about
sheep.
deer and cows and
Yeah, I
still
think
bashing
it's
shit out of each
called
other.
them fighting herds or something like that.
the
Which is
fighting
on,
Then
her.
yeah.
And
Which is
Them's
on,
speaking of,
fighting birds. It's
and
a play on the words. Them's fighting birds,
yeah.
partner.
It's super clever, too clever 7 me.
Okay, let me Google this game. Release June 18, 2017.
Oh,
It's going
so
on right now.
so it's actually due to release. Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought it was already
finally,
on.
We have another pointless finding game to buy.
I thought it was in development hell.
Just like what's it called again? The oh god, I forgot the name. It's essentially like an animal dating sim, but instead of animal characters, they're still animal characters, but they're based off My Little Pony characters. Oh, Star Soul Academy. That fucker's been in development hell for about 5 years now, I believe. And it didn't get C&D because it's way too fucking different compared to the original, I guess. Speaking of which, and I'm just gonna shamelessly plug my own stuff, we're still working on and by we I mean Cutie Confidential. We're still working on an art book, and it's gonna come out sometime this year. and you can purchase it, and then you'll be rich. Only 3,000 euros, or dollars, or yen.
Okay,
what?
she apparently didn't do anything since Wonder Over Yonder, though.
So basically, she's been a useless shit all this time.
Yes, she's a
Yeah, and
full-time
by
game
the way,
developer.
Super Best Friends.
That was
the Super Best
2012.
Yeah, and it's not going anywhere simply because DC decided to make the DC Superhero Girls, which is a web series, and it's
Mm.
essentially Monster High with superheroes.
Hi,
That sounds
monsters, you
terrifying.
say.
Yeah,
Just like
it's
Equestria
it is a
Girls.
tying into a toy line, which is basically Monster High with superheroes. And as said, they made an animated web series to it, which is essentially Monster High with superheroes.
Speaking of Monster High, Equestria Girls is also still going on. Apparently, they're making shorts now or whatever. This shit won't die.
Pretty good.
And
So the toys apparently are selling fine, so
I
why
don't get
would
it.
they
I
stop?
don't get it. The toys look ugly as shit. They look not.
Explain that to girls.
Then okay, then settled. Girls have shit taste. That's right, girls. You all have shit taste. Every single one of you. I
We
don't.
knew that since we knew that since we were 4.
Yeah, but still. It's no wonder that Gamergate exists. Apparently. I mean, it's got nothing to do with this particular subject matter, but it's got everything to do with it. You just have shit taste, and you should feel shame for it.
Well, yes. Also, you hate women, and that's why
Yeah,
they are
obviously.
revolting and stabbing their boyfriends.
Yep. I mean, I obviously really like women. I draw them all the fucking time, but I fucking hate women. All I want is a world without women.
Yes. And then you end up like that guy who was stabbed in the leg during an argument with a girlfriend, and then she took a jar of jam and smashed it into his face. And then the court was like, "What you did is very abhorrent and generally not nice thing to do to people, especially to boyfriends. But you are a promising heart surgeon, so go."
Mm-hmm. It's
And now I want her to get assassinated.
it's a clear vision into our glorious communist future where
It was in Britain, I think.
well that's basically the same thing. They're basically a communist country by now, so so good job Britain. Okay, I'm obviously exaggerating, but um, yeah, that sounds lovely.
I fucking hate them all.
It's especially very comforting to know that if anyone gets into a romantic relationship with a woman
Well, just
and
you
she
wait when
goes
you go
that
to
shit,
Britain and you see all that non-EU freedom and you get a heart attack and she's going to save your life. What then?
then I'd still be upset. It's like, yeah, thank you for saving my life, I guess, but what you did was still shitty. The thing you did
And
to
she's
to
like, okay, I'm taking the heart back.
yeah, but joke's on
That's
her
not
because
how
I
it
actually
works.
implanted a small nuke in my heart and then I blow up that part of the UK just out of spite.
So you're a German agent.
No,
No, if
well,
he was
okay.
German, he would be Muslim.
But blowing up part of Britain out of spite sounds like something Germany would do.
Well, the Dutch are kind of like the spear version of Germans, so.
Yeah,
But you
small
see,
Germany.
but you see, we're the superior version of Germany because we don't try to take over the world all the time. That's actually the problem with Germany. I figured this shit out. I've cracked the code. Germans are constantly trying to take over the world. It's
Well,
just
obviously.
that's just in their nature that they can't help themselves. It's just something they do. That's
Like
like
you had the Holy Roman Empire
exactly.
version 2,
Yep.
because the first version was not Germans yet. But they were like, okay, that's a nice place, let's conquer it. And then they were like in the remains of the conquered Holy Roman Empire, like, okay, why is everything burning? I think we did something wrong. Let's try it again. They had the Holy Roman Empire, version 2. And then they went and made Prussia.
Mhm.
But the Prussia were like, no, I don't want to be Germany. And then Prussia stopped existing under mysterious circumstances and became more Germany. Then there was a war, and it didn't work out. So they were like, okay, let's try more war. But more war still didn't work out. So they were like, okay, let's just, wow, murdering all the Jews didn't work. Let's just inspire by the Jews. And then they bought their way into the Europe.
Mhm. Then we're like, yeah, let's just create the best economy on the European continent. So they just did that. They're like, yeah, let's just.
And then they sold it all to ISIS for nothing.
Well, that's also part of the master plan.
If only it was ISIS. They sold it to Belgium.
Well, obviously, their next step is to just convert ISIS to Germanism. So
Isn't
yeah,
that the same?
no, because currently ISIS isn't Germaning very well. They're more like the exact polar opposite of Germany.
Yeah, I mean
But
there's a few differences. Like, uh, Mohammed is a man, and you still can draw Merkel.
uh, exactly. But so there's that, and the ISIS doesn't drink alcohol, and Germany does all the fucking time. So obviously the plan is to take a few ISIS people, force them to drink a bunch of alcohol, and then they'll just instantly turn German.
Too bad the exact opposite will happen. All the Germans will turn ISIS.
But I don't know about that.
ISIS.
Then what would be the point of doing all this?
Because Germans always fail.
I mean, their apparent complete cockery towards their own people's obviously part of a larger plan, which is obviously
Okay,
turn.
I have a message from Beyond. I've downloaded the Ocha board app,
Uh,
and then I paid the Consonant DLC, so I could actually start using it. And I have a message from Penboy. He has a topic, even though he's not here.
wow. Okay. Well, that's
A-
gonna be our
Apparent,
closing topic. So.
apparently, in his deep meditative trance in the afterlife, he recalled a thing that happened this week.
Mhm.
It was that Trump fired the FBI guy was investigating him after months of him never finding anything, and now they are all investigating Trump very hard.
Um, yeah, we actually talked about this last week because Backfoon brought it up because we all know that Backfoon really likes Trump.
It does.
It's like his favorite character ever.
Yeah, I mean,
Trump is the best
he's
character.
one of the best anime protagonists after all. Up
He
there with
is.
Goku.
I would even go as far as say that Goku doesn't have jack shit on
Although we
Trump.
felt like, yeah, Trump is permanently in Saiyan form. Look at
Ex-
the hair.
exactly. Trump get to Trump. I mean, Goku doesn't do that. I mean, Goku's just Goku.
Also, everybody's accusing Trump of telling secrets to the Russian ambassador, and Trump is like, they are still our allies, kinda. You know, you can share intel with allies.
Yeah, I don't think Russia's officially an enemy of the United States.
Yeah.
That's
I
because
mean,
liberals want a war.
apparently they really do. They really fucking hate Russia for some reason. I mean, I'm not. Russia isn't.
Because Russia fights against ISIS.
Yeah, but
Then
then.
again, Trump does do some questionable things
Yeah,
in Syria. You know,
Mhm.
just bombing bombing people because the army, the piece of army that's just going there happens to have some Iranian forces, and USA doesn't like Iran, so just stop moving, or we are going to throw bombs at you. Okay, you didn't stop moving. We are throwing the bombs at you because you have like 20 Iranians in you.
And then everyone was
Also,
sad.
apparently seems like the Syrians like Assad.
Um, well, I guess it depends on what Syrians you're asking.
Sure. Yeah, well,
Well,
part of Syria.
well, obviously those that are not dead. Yes, apparently, there was a journalist there lately, and she was like, "Okay, what do you think about this?" And they was like, "We are not telling you anything because you lie all the time." And she's, I am here for the first time. You know how difficult it is to get a visa or whatever here. And they're like, "No, you lie. All the media lies."
Also, did you watch
Oh
that
yeah, they do.
did you watch video series from Sargon where he more or less dissects the entire well, it's kind of like a media campaign surrounding Syria where we're basically being told that they're the bad guys, even though reality's far more subtle.
It wasn't related. I originally saw the video with the guy telling that all the media are lies.
Well, that's true. All the media are lies, and then there's some.
Fake news.
It's not even fake
Very
news.
true.
It's not even fake news. It's just there's so
It's
much
just
off.
fake.
It's just so much obvious narrative pushing. It's not even funny, and people fall for it hook, line, and sinker. Oh yeah, we have it.
Because liberals.
Hmm. Well, to be fair, it's not just liberals. It's basically everyone. You got the Republicans that are like, yeah, Fox News. They know what's going on. They really know what's going on, even though they're all part of
The same problem.
the same problem. They're too are part of the big mainstream media that are big. The job of media used to be to inform citizens about the shit that's going on in the world. Like, yeah, today this happened. Yeah, that's it. That thing happened over there. You can now start to try and form your own opinion about it.
Artrix,
This thing
I
happened.
think you are giving them too much credit because usually it's like this thing happened on Twitter.
Uh huh. Oh yeah, that's what journalists do these days. They're like,
Exactly.
look, we've seen this tweet on Twitter.
Therefore, it must be true.
I could have done that myself. I don't need I what are you doing exactly? I can read this tweet myself, and it can I'm perfectly capable to discern for myself whether or not I'm going to take the shit seriously. And considering that your guys are promoting it, I probably won't be taking it seriously.
At
Which,
all.
yeah, which might be very ironic because for all we know, it is very valid information. I just refuse
Don't
it,
feel like trusting.
and I just reject it because of the source, which is very biased media. They could bring a very valid point and be like, yeah, but you guys lied so many times in the past that I don't even bother tuning in. I don't think I've checked in to the national news channel in months. I just don't care anymore. I have very little. I care very little about what they actually have to say. But yeah, I think that's a discussion for another time, because when you're discussing the mainstream media and how they manipulate the public consciousness, because that's what they all seem to do these days. It's all about. It's no longer about informing people, but it's just plain opinion
Just
shit.
lie as much as they can.
Well, it's basically to shape the public opinion, and I don't think that's what news is supposed to do. Not in a functioning democratic society. Then again, we're part of the EU,
Implying
and
that
that's
America was ever a functioning democratic society.
well, no, actually, I think at the very early onset of the United States, they're doing very well at the democratic process. Um, if you look at the way the laws
Yes, the
and
democratic
sys-
process of if you're an Englishman, we're gonna shoot you.
I'm pretty sure the moment they declared the independence, they were like, yeah, if are you born here? Yes, then you're American.
Are you not born here? Shoot you.
Either become
Unless you were
American.
a Native American, then they shot you anyway.
Unless you have some shit they can buy from you, then they buy the shit and then they shot you.
They should shoot the Native Americans more.
Well, you don't want to do that anymore because they're only the only casinos in the United States. I mean, we gotta have our casinos. Come on. Come on.
Come on!
Also, I
Trump has
guess,
casinos.
yep, and he's probably running them in Indian reservations, or the 2 states where gambling is actually legal. I don't know. American
Maybe.
laws regarding gambling are really weird and confusing. Anyway, we're at the 1 hour 35-minute mark, so
Imagine Trump has a casino and then he deports all the illegals and then his casino stops working.
Okay, and now imagine this is basically Donald Trump, but he looks like McCree, and he looks nothing but Donald Trump, but he looks like McCree.
Yes.
And also this will, last time it was me drawing Diva that got me the job, but they changed the requirements. Now you have to be able to draw me and McCree, and they think, oh yeah, we totally locked Artrix out of this job. He will not be able to get the sweet job because he can only draw Divas. And then I come around like, yeah, I can draw McCree too. Oh damn. Well, okay, here have job.
Heck, who cares about divas?
Exactly, it's all about McCree's now. So, thank you for watching. You've been watching another retarded episode of Radio. Watch, subscribe, like, press the little bell icon.
Don't forget to rate and subscribe.
Press
Especially Ray.
the little bell icon. That means you get all the notifications when we actually upload an episode once
Unless
every
YouTube
week.
decides
When
that you
we
want.
actually bother to.
So yeah. Also buy all our merchandise and
If you're too poor to go to a casino, click on the bell. It's like
Yeah.
a roulette, you know.
yeah.
Either YouTube decides that it's going to give you
Go
notifications or not.
go to PayPal.me/the Artrix and give me all your money. Give it all your savings,
Money.
everything. Just give it to me.
Money.
I got to have money. Anyway, thank you for watching. We'll be back next week. You know the drill. What else?